Yeah, so we lived here for 18 months now
Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah.
But having lived in London for a long time before that, and then moved to various places in it before we bought the house here. So
Yeah.
we bought the house and wanted to expand it and see what we could do.
Yeah, it was a project.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be a project, didn't we?
We did, just about.
Yeah. So before we moved here, we lived in North London, which we really liked, but we really didn't see the possibility for us to buy a house that we could live in for a long time.
Yeah.
And the houses in this area are just so sweet, and everything just looks so Victorian and classic, and it's just
definitely.
really beautiful.
Definitely. And we've also really loved being in, it's a really great community around here. So we came here the first time we were looking around, and I got chatting to the neighbours and stuff, and it's just been great. It's a really fun part of London to live in, because you've got all the benefits of being outside of the city, but you can get into the city in 10 minutes, into the West End in 20 minutes. So.
I did that mostly.
You did, yeah.
And it was quite straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot more resources now than there used to be.
Yeah.
Like online, so you got lots of ability to test the different people, so you can go and read about different companies and stuff.
Yeah, and I think for me, and probably this is the reason that it was an easy decision, is that when you have people coming over to your house, it's very easy to get the measure of them in terms of whether you would like to work with them. Like, obviously the content of the tender is important, but also the relationship is important. So if it's somebody that you have a natural kind of easy rapport with,
definitely.
And that was why it was really important to get people over to the house to speak to them in person.
I agree with that, and I think we've obviously done a few other bits around the house with less success or less good relationships with our contractor. So it was also really important, these projects happening in the middle of the house. We lived here the whole time. The project was ongoing as well. So knowing that we knew who we were going to call if there was a problem, when there was an issue, and there always will be some. Basically, you know there'll be something, and it's just about having the team there that will deal with them. And so I think that gave us a lot of confidence when we met Alex and the team, and we were very, very comfortable with that.
Yeah, and I think also we had a kind of figure in our head for the tender. Like, we had a number in our mind, and we think this is, and it's always interesting to see like the range of prices that come through.
Yeah.
And also it gives you a good understanding of what people are prepared to be honest about, and what they're going to just give you at the end.
Yeah.
If they're going to be transparent about how everything's priced, or if they're going to say, oh yeah, I'll do it for this, and then suddenly, things just get added on and added on and added on. And I think also, to be fair, it's a bit harsh because we both work vaguely in this industry, so we do have an understanding, well, you definitely do, and I kind of do have an understanding of how much stuff costs, and also how much the right people cost.
Yeah.
You can do things very cheaply, but it won't last very long, and then you'll end up spending the same amount of money to make it right in the end. And then the most expensive one was somebody who hadn't even been to the house. They just clearly had been on Rightmove and seen how much we paid for the house and thought, oh, they can afford to pay this, and it was completely out of line with what with the job. Because even though obviously it took a while and it was invasive, it's actually only like an extra kind of, not even 100 square feet of space. So
it is 100 square feet. So
100 square feet.
More than that.
But yeah, so I think that was kind of enlightening. Whereas obviously when you came round, it was very much.
Well, I think the most important part is that
it's itemised.
It's quite itemised, so you actually understand what the different things cost. So you could say, this bit's more expensive than we thought. Is there another way of doing it? Or this is actually a bit cheaper than we thought, so maybe we can spend a bit more on some other things. So I think having it really broken down in different sections, the way that it was all provided to us from Alex and the team, gave us a really good option to say what we could do and what we couldn't do. I think that's really important.
Yeah. I think it's just that trusting, isn't it? It's,
Yeah.
That's the person that's going to be in your house for weeks and weeks and weeks. You know, they're going to. You have to feel like you can trust them.
Yeah, you got to give the guys a set of keys and kind of let them get on with it, and that's a big trust thing. I think the most important thing for us, to be honest, was the fact that we could go and see another project that had been completed by the team, so we could actually go and meet someone who knew you guys, who had a good relationship with you, who had the project, who could sort of point the stuff out. He could also kind of point out the things like, oh, you know, this was really good. This was the thing that we ended up talking a bit more about through the process. But that was really reassuring because it was a proper person. And I think that's the best way for us getting confident is you guys are very happy to let us go and talk with someone who's actually had the experience. So, yeah, that was really reassuring. I think that gave us a lot of comfort about how the whole business was and how everything would work. So to me, that was the most important thing that allowed us to make the decision, or one of the most important things that allowed us to make a decision.
Yeah, and I think it's just that trust point and the feeling of this is going to be quite major works. Effectively, the whole kind of back of the house is going to be off, and so just realizing like the magnitude of that, and I guess getting to a point where you're comfortable.
Definitely.
With the person that's going to be doing that for you. I guess that's the challenge. It wasn't a challenge in terms of, you know, getting it down to 2 or 3 people who we thought would do a good job, but it was just that final decision of like, right, who's the right person? Yeah,
it actually just came down to the feeling that it was a really good value proposal with a team that we really trusted to actually go and deliver it. And as we've seen with other contractors, the proposal can look pretty good, but when stuff goes wrong, how are they going to deal with it? When there's challenges in the project, when things are a bit different, how are they going to manage it through? Yeah. And that actually, I think, to me, is the defining factor of picking the right people, is that you trust them to get the job done, irrespective of what happens. I think that's to me, that's the most important thing.
I think so. I think it was just acknowledging that there will be difficult things that happen along the way, but who did we think that we would be able to manage those difficult things with, rather than, you know, everything's great, we're having a lovely time, and then something goes wrong and suddenly the relationship isn't there and you don't have the trust in each other to know that you're trying to get to the right place together.
Exactly.